Three corner patch, Pat.
Right.
Is that on camera, Pat?
Yeah, you're on.
Recorded.
You're on me, Shawnee.
Corner patch.
In 20 years' time, I'll be looking at you.
I met him at the car park.
Did you? Oh, well. You went further than me, so.
Yeah.
You're all well there, yeah.
A half mile has
Get the soil.
Carmel champagne.
Did you give Jim something? Did you give Jim?
No, I don't have it. No, I'm fine.
Well, you said on the left.
Shall I go and get it filled for you, sir?
I don't know. They've come to me.
Really needed the most. Oh, jeez. It's great to sit down and know you don't have to get up again. You know what I mean? It's usually, like, for the week, it's been sitting down for 20 minutes and knowing you have to get up and walk and Thank you very much.
You were bad with your shins.
Me instep.
Your instinct.
Just in the crease. But it's great. Now that it's done.
And you were the fittest. Well, you were saying.
Oh, he was the odds-on favourite, yeah.
I think it was just, we had to catch up. We done 15k in 2 hours. I'd say that just, I done something.
Yeah, and we got lost in Cork as well.
Anyway, to have so many people interested in local history of the area is great, because when I was going to school, the history was quite boring, and often you wouldn't even find Waterford in the history book, not to mind Bunmahon. I just thought there was no history in the place at all. And it's only in the last 15 years or so that one thing after another has come to light to add to our knowledge of the area. First of all, we didn't know that we had a unique geological history, because this part of Ireland had volcanoes and earthquakes that weren't in any other part of the coast. And it makes it especially interesting because it threw up the different minerals. The other history we had then was an industrial history, because in the 1840s, I think, there was a Mr. and Mrs. Hall did a tour of Ireland. And when they came to Waterford, they said it was a poor, bleak, barren county until you came to Bunmahon. And there you had a hive of industry with people, hundreds going to work and moving around and making things and shops. And of course, that industry brought experiences to people that normally country people don't have. There were children working, there were paying conditions for workers, there were strikes, looking for accommodation for miners, all kinds of things associated with that. And then there was the social history that we began to find out about. The Reverend Doudney, who came here, he was a Protestant missionary. He came up here to Tankardstown when he arrived, just after the famine. And he looked out there to the sea and he said, if you stand in Tankardstown and look over to Helvig, you can see the beauty that God has made. And then he said, walk down into the village and look around you, and you will see the evil that the devil provides. So we had all, then Una Troy, of course, the novelist, came here, different, Edith Collier, the artist. So all these things, year by year, we're finding out something new about the place, and it all brings in new connections. The fact that we're a geopark means we're visited every year or second year by geopark members from other parts of Europe, and people from here have gone out there. The mines have linked us up with Montana in America, because so many went there. Swansea in Wales, where the copper went to be smelted. And the Reverend Dowdney that came here, his grandchildren, great-grandchildren came here last year and were delighted to see where his church, the Protestant church, and all around it where he built his schools, and they left a trophy here for us because to their mind he came here as a missionary, very resented by the people who none of them shared his religion, very few, but he persevered and built schools here, and a woman has written a play about that time now, and she's hoping maybe to get Angela Mulcahy to get it on T.G. Carr in the form of a documentary about those times and the strain that was on the different religions and the miners from the different countries. So now all these little connections all add to our information and all make life that bit more interesting. Now we know people came here from Allihies and we know people went from Bunmahon to Allihies. Now after that we don't know very much. We have that very sad story about the woman who followed her husband. He had come here to look for a job, and when she came here, he was being buried. And she had to go back on her own all the way. Her children died on the way, and she had a breakdown and was known as Bunmahon Kate. Afterwards, always keen on about her husband who died. We know, and we also know that people went from Bunmahon to Allihies. But the fact that you've done this walk today now will focus some attention on that, and we'll be surprised at the bits of information that will come out about it. And again, give us another link to the links we have already to different things, geology, industrial, all that. I know two things about Allihies. One is I was asking John Murray, the fisherman in Boatstrand, about where did his family come from, and he said his grandfather was called Murray Bayrock because he came from the Beara Peninsula. Also, John Carey, the teacher down in Ballyduff, he did a thesis on the Bunmahon mines for his degree. He went everywhere. He went across to where the mine foreman that lived in the doctor's house, Petrick, came from, and he found houses there exactly the same as the ones in the terrace, Cornish miners' houses. But also he said in his thesis that there were Bunmahon miners went up to work in Allihies, and you always knew where the Bunmahon miners lived because outside their front door was always a heap of periwinkle and barnacle shells. I was surprised that they wouldn't have eaten them up there as well, but anyway, that was one of the things. So as I say, the walk today is the start of us finding out more about this link, another link for us. So I'd like to thank you all. It was a great thing to do, this inaugural walk, and I'm sure we'll have it again. So, and I don't think anyone will object if I thank you all for doing the walk and supporting the walk and the rest, if I single out Sean Corcoran as you see, in the area, all the things we've done and found out about the place and adding to our history have almost always been triggered off by people who came in here from outside, saw the layout of the place and became interested in it. So that's why they are all very welcome, and we're glad to have their talents and motivation. So that's it. Again, thank you all. You can go over to Hazel's. There will be refreshments there later on. Thank you all again for watching.